on Yellowknife and the Northwest Territories. But let's go to British Columbia and to Vancouver, because we're getting an update on wildfires in that province, as well as drought. Very hot in many parts of the province right now as well. Let's listen in.
Wave exacerbate serious drought conditions and wildfire risks here in British Columbia. We are preparing for our own extreme fire behavior this week due to the convergence of dry lightning, strong winds, and drought conditions. There is a strong likelihood of new fire starts that will grow quickly and unpredictably in the coming days. In British Columbia, BC Wildfire Service crews are working diligently to prepare for the days ahead. They're working to secure fire guard on active wildfires, doing planned ignition operations, and ensuring that active perimeters of fires are out. We also have international personnel in place from Australia, Mexico, Brazil, and Costa Rica. We thank all those personnel who are ending their tenure here and thank them for their service. And we look forward to welcoming additional incoming firefighters from Mexico, Ontario, and Eastern Canada. The top priority is always to protect people's lives and property. Yet we know these fires can start quickly and act unpredictably in these conditions. So we are urging people to stay aware of the wildfire situation in their area, to take precautions, and to report fires when they see them. For more on the current situation and next steps, I'll now turn it over to Cliff Chapman for more specifics on the potential extreme fire conditions. Cliff?
Thank you, Minister Ralston. My name is Cliff Chapman. I'm the Director of Provincial Operations for BC Wildfire Service. I'm honored to be here today on the traditional territory of Tecumloops, District Quebec, where my family lives and where I work in Kamloops. Today, the intent of the messaging is to talk about the next 24 to 48 hours as we experience a significant weather event across BC that's forecast to begin basically as we're starting today in the north today, and then it's going to sweep down across the southern part of the central and then the southern part of the province. Before I get into the weather, I want to echo Minister Ralston's words for the Northwest Territories, as well as Hawaii and other fire agencies across North America that have been challenged with significant fire challenges this season. What's happening in the Northwest Territories is shocking with the mass evacuation, and our hearts are with the people who are leaving and trying to evacuate the Northwest Territories. And as an agency, our hearts and our thoughts are also with the responders who are staying behind, trying to protect those communities, as we've seen throughout BC for the course of the last 2 months, and we'll see for the next number of weeks ahead. Today, the messaging is really about the forecast. It is about the weather. As we know, we've been under a ridge of high pressure. That's why we have been so hot and so dry the last number of days. We've been breaking temperature records across the province, primarily in the south, but also in the central and northern parts of BC. You couple that with the extreme drought conditions that we've spoken about on these availabilities over the course of the last number of months, and the conditions out in the forest are very prime to see significant fire growth and to see new fires challenge our suppression efforts. We will see this, what we refer to in BC as a cold front, which is a cold air mass pushing up into the hot air mass that we've been living under for the last number of days. When those two things happen, it creates significant and sustained winds, likely in the 30 to 40 kilometers an hour range, with gusts up to 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. We will also see erratic winds through this event as it sweeps through the province, meaning that the wind direction will change, and what used to be a flank or the base of a fire will become the head of a fire, challenging all of the efforts that we've put in over the course of the last number of weeks to build containment lines, to use planned ignitions to secure the lines. And today and tomorrow we'll really see the success of those efforts. This cold air mass is going to start in the northern part of the province, as I said, right now. It's going to sweep through the Caribou as we approach the afternoon, and eventually making its way to the coast, the Kamloops, and the Southeast fire centers early this evening, pushing through the evening. The other significant challenge with this forecast is that it is forecast to come with lightning. As we know, lightning is our primary ignition source for new fires, has been for the predominant part of this fire season, and we are anticipating a significant number of new fires across the province of BC. And obviously, we're already dealing with a significant amount of fires already on the land base. What these winds, coupled with the dryness of the fuels, will do in the next 24 hours on our existing fires, as I said, it will challenge our control lines. We are expecting to see growth on those fires in the next 24 hours, including through the entire evening tonight into Friday morning. For new starts, what this means is we'll have the potential to see lots of new fires across BC, and those fires will challenge even our air tanker and helicopter resources and our ground resources, as we are likely to see a number of new fires happening across the province. Again, this is a significant forecasted weather event for BC. Just to conclude, and I'm happy, and I'm sure there's lots of questions, just to conclude, we have seen the devastating impacts of fires in BC over the course of this year, as well as many years in the past. We're now more recently being reminded of some of those impacts with what happened in Hawaii and what's currently happening in the Northwest Territories, inclusive of what's been happening in BC in some of our communities in BC over the course of the last 3 months. This weather event has the potential to be the most challenging 24 to 48 hours of the summer from a fire perspective. We are expecting significant growth, and we are expecting our resources to be challenged from north to south in the province over the next 48 hours. What we are doing in preparation, we have had resource utilization movement across the province. We have seen resources move, as Minister Ralston said. We also have requested additional resources, as we have been all summer. We do have more resources coming tomorrow, as well as into next week, to try to offset the potential of these new fire starts. As Minister Ma will likely discuss right after this, now, if ever there was a time to make sure you have an evacuation plan for your house and your family, it's now. If ever there was a time to make sure you had a grab-and-go bag, it is now. We recognize that across the province, at times, people have not adhered to evacuation orders. I want to stress, now is not the time to not adhere to evacuation orders and alerts. The weather is going to be erratic and significant. At least it is forecast to be. Please listen to your local governments and provincial officials when there is an evacuation order. We urge you to please leave. We will try to get you home as soon as we can as this weather system passes. And finally, I just want to say that I issue a thank you to British Columbians. This is going to be a significant 48 hours, but your heartfelt kindness towards our first responders, towards the thousands of people that we have out there across the province, working diligently to suppress these fires, working diligently to ensure that we don't have impacts to life and property. Your kindness is felt, and it means more than you know to the people of BC Wildfire Service and all the support agencies that are stepping up to support the response effort this year. It's going to be a challenging 48 hours for BC as it pertains to fire. But like everything, and as BC has shown time and time again, we will get through it, and we can get through it by showing respect to one another, checking in on your neighbor, and making sure that you make space for first responders to come and do what they need to do to protect your life and property. Happy to take questions, but for now, I'll put it back to Minister Ma to complete the briefing.
Thank you so much, Cliff, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us again today. My name is Bowen Ma, Minister of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, here joining you from the territories of the Squamish, Musqueam, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. Before I begin, I too would like to acknowledge the heartbreaking situation in the Northwest Territories right now. In BC, many people are familiar with the stress that comes with wildfires, with smoke, and with the evacuation orders. To people from the Northwest Territories and throughout the North, our thoughts are with you during this difficult time. BC stands ready to help, just as other provinces have assisted us in times of need. And I want to emphasize the situation is extremely dynamic. The Northwest Territories has requested assistance from BC and Alberta with evacuating healthcare patients. And at this time, British Columbia is expected to receive approximately 55 hospital patients and care home residents, with potentially more to come. They are expected to arrive through the Vancouver Airport, and BC Emergency Health Services and Health Emergency Management British Columbia are coordinating supports for patients as they arrive through YVR. While the majority of evacuees from the territory will be going to Alberta and other Western provinces, we are also preparing to receive some evacuees as well if needed. BC stands ready to provide further assistance to the Northwest Territories. At the same time, we are not letting up on our own wildfire season here in British Columbia, and we are preparing for what may be difficult days ahead, and we're ensuring that we have the resources to support people here in BC. As of this morning, there are approximately 480 people under evacuation order in BC and over 4,900 people on evacuation alert. I want to underscore that we are very concerned about the developing wildfire situation here in BC. As Cliff has mentioned, the conditions we are expecting, dry lightning and strong shifting winds, may lead to extreme fire behavior. BC Wildfire Service crews are working diligently to secure fire guards on active wildfires, doing planned ignition operations and ensuring that active perimeters of fire are out. This expected strong winds means that wildfire can move and change direction exceptionally fast. We are urging people to stay calm, to be alert, and to be prepared. If you are placed under an evacuation order, you must leave the area immediately. I understand that it is incredibly difficult to leave your home and your community and everything that you know, the places you love and seek comfort in during challenging times. But I want to emphasize that an evacuation order is not the time to wait and see, especially not under the conditions that are being forecasted. Please be prepared now. Have an emergency plan and a grab-and-go kit ready for you, your family, and your pets. Your First Nation or local authority will provide information on evacuation routes and evacuation reception centers where you can access emergency support services if you require it. Emergency support services, including accommodations, are available to those who do not have a place to stay if they are under evacuation. However, I do encourage people who live in high-risk areas to reach out to family and friends who may be able to provide shelter in other areas of the province. Make those arrangements now as part of your emergency plan. We are in peak tourism season and there is limited availability at hotels and motels, and we continue to assess capacity for group lodging, and we are proactively opening evacuation spaces across the province. This includes the temporary evacuee accommodations for 300 people being opened in partnership with Tecumloops to Shewetmuk in the Raylay neighborhood of Kamloops. By staying with family and friends, however, you're helping fellow evacuees who may not have that option, and you are helping our emergency response teams on the ground. Now, during summer, it is quite common for communities and landowners to host music festivals and events. The hot, dry temperatures mixed with forecasted dry lightning has increased the risk of wildfires throughout much of British Columbia. At this time, I want to emphasize how important it is for event and music festival organizers to have an emergency plan in place and to work closely with First Nations and local authorities in planning their events. It is incredibly important that local authorities not be surprised by the presence of hundreds or thousands of additional visitors in their region during an emergency situation. Keeping an open channel of communication with your local authority will help emergency management personnel and wildfire personnel swiftly respond if there is an emergency and keep people safe. We saw an example of this last week when a wildfire near Princeton quickly grew and threatened nearly 1,000 participants of a music festival near Colmont. The RCMP and local fire department executed a tactical evacuation of the music festival due to the Rice Road wildfire. And while everyone in the area was safely evacuated, this underscores the importance of being prepared. And this weekend, another music festival called Music on the Mountain was planned to be held at Murray Ridge Ski Area, north of Fort St. James. As a precaution, the organizers decided to relocate the event to Fort St. James due to the nearby Great Beaver Lake Fire. I know people and organizations that plan annual music festivals know the dangers that wildfires can pose to their participants, and I would like to thank them for being agile and putting people's safety as their first priority. For anyone traveling, going into the backcountry or to a remote location, please look at emergencybc.ca for possible evacuation alerts or orders in that area. Study the BC Wildfire Service app, share your travel plans with a friend or family member, and create an evacuation plan in case you are directed or asked to leave. Please visit adventuresmart.ca for more information on how to safely plan a trip into the backcountry. Before I turn it back to Minister Ralston, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the high temperatures we experienced across the province over the last several days. These high temperatures are stressful and a risk, particularly for people who are vulnerable. And I'd like to thank everyone who has taken the time to check on a loved one. Keeping in touch with friends, relatives, neighbors, particularly if they're older or vulnerable to heat, is extremely important. I also want to thank the many First Nations and local governments that took proactive steps this week by opening cooling centers to keep people safe and communicating with their residents about how they can stay safe. Incremental costs associated with establishing and running these cooling centers will be reimbursed by the province. High temperatures are becoming more common in BC due to climate change. In recent years, we have been funding communities to boost their preparation for extreme temperatures, and this week we announced yet another round of funding that will be used by local governments and First Nations to improve their knowledge of the risks associated with extreme temperatures to protect people. As a number of heat warnings have now been lifted and the weather is forecasted to slightly cool over the next several days, we now face forecasts that will have considerable impacts on wildfire. So let's continue to be alert. Let's continue to be prepared. Connect with family and friends. Make your grab and go kit. Your government is prepared to respond to the challenges that we may have to support you and your family. We ask you to be prepared as well. Thank you. I'll now turn it over to Minister Ralston to provide an update on drought.
Great. Thank you very much, Minister Ma. As of this morning, 28 of BC's 34 water basins continue to be at level 4 or 5, and it's a scale of 0 to 5, and 5 is the highest. More watersheds are moving from level 4 up to level 5, the highest classification possible. So the drought situation is serious in British Columbia, there's no doubt about that. And the impacts of drought conditions in certain BC watersheds will be serious as well. We're closely monitoring stream and river flows and taking regulatory action as needed. Protecting water is vital for people, communities, First Nations, as well as fish and wildlife who depend upon our rivers. The drought conditions in Bassett Creek and Salmon River, both which feed into Shuswap Lake near Salmon Arm, are especially concerning. Drought conditions in these rivers are putting trout and salmon species, including the endangered Thompson River Chinook, at risk. Chinook need to migrate and return to the river for the spawning season in the coming weeks. That's why yesterday I issued a fish population protection order for both Bassett Creek and the Lower Salmon River area. That's under the Water Sustainability Act. The aim of these orders is to help restore water flow levels enough to protect the salmon run. It means that ground and surface water users in each area will no longer be able to irrigate water-intensive forage crops, including grass for hay, alfalfa, and forage corn. However, I want to stress, water will still be available for people, livestock, fruit crops, and market vegetables. We recognize the impact this has on farmers, business owners, and industrial water users. These decisions are always made as an absolute last resort because we recognize the very real impact this has had on farmers and their businesses. We have in place programs for farmers impacted by drought, such as the Federal Provincial Agri-Stability Program, which offers assistance with the cost of hay and feed, and the new Access to Feed program, which connects farmers in need of hay to those selling it. Our message to the agricultural community is this: We are taking this seriously. We have the tools in place to help now, and we will keep listening and working with you. I'd also like to note that in advance of these orders, ministry staff asked water licensees in each watershed to conserve water voluntarily. And I want to thank everyone who pulled together during this challenging time and voluntarily reduced their water use. It's because of collective efforts like that, working together as a community, that we have been able to delay these actions until now. As I said, protection orders are only taken when absolutely necessary because we know they impact farming businesses. We are continuously monitoring impacted waterways for rain and water flows, and the orders can be revoked if we see enough rain that allows the water flows to recover. As the extreme drought conditions continue, we may see similar challenges in other waterways. In advance of protection orders, ministry staff are working with people and communities on the ground to conserve water voluntarily. Again, thank you to those conserving water. It makes a difference and helps delay the need for protection orders for fish. We continue to call on everyone in British Columbia, including residential and industrial water users, to follow local water restrictions and reduce their water usage. As we head into the final few weeks of August, I know there are a lot of people traveling around the province. Visitors and campers at BC Parks are reminded to conserve water to help protect our natural resources. BC Parks has posted drought advisories on all relevant parks websites for people looking online. They also have information and posters up at parks to minimize in-park water use for both staff operational use and by visitors. Destination BC, the provincial agency, has created a new drought toolkit with suggested actions to help resorts, restaurants, and other tourism industry partners champion water conservation. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts, Culture and Sport has outreach underway to ensure the 8 provincially owned heritage attractions and the mountain resorts around the province are aware of local drought conditions and managing water use appropriately. We all have a part to play to help build a more resilient province. And these actions do make a difference. Water use restrictions are different from community to community, so we're asking people to familiarize themselves with local restrictions and follow the rules in their area. Let's commit together to be mindful of our water use. Water is a precious resource, and British Columbia is fortunate to have some of the best water in the world. Every drop counts. Let me now turn it over to Minister Ma for the question and answer part of our event today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister Ralston. We now have some time for questions. And in addition to myself, Minister Ralston and Cliff Chapman, staff are also available to answer questions, including Connie Chapman, Acting Director of Water Management Branch with the Ministry of Forests, Jonathan Boyd, Hydrologist with the River Forecast Center. We have Peter Brock, Executive Director with the Ministry of Emergency Management and Climate Readiness, Mark Raymond, Executive Director with the Agriculture Resource Division of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food, Dr. David McVie, the public health physician with the BC CDC under Environmental Health Services, and of course the Honourable Adrian Dix, Minister of Health as well.
Thank you. A reminder for reporters on the phone to please press *1 to enter the queue. That's *1 to ask a question. For media in the room, please line up at the microphone provided, and please make sure to provide your full name and outlet. Media will be limited to 1 question and 1 follow-up. We're going to start in the room today. If anyone has a question, please go ahead.
Yes, hi, Catherine Zip from CBC Radio Canada. So first of all, from what I'm understanding, we are stretched pretty thin in terms of resources right now to manage the fires around the province, and there's also fires going on in the Northwestern Territories and Hawaii. So I was wondering how you are coordinating these resources because they're asking for help. You also need help. How is this managed among yourselves, and how is it divided? And if anyone can add in French, I would really appreciate it if you can.
Minister Dix would be very happy to provide maybe some translation in French. So, first off, this is a challenging time for many jurisdictions right across the world, and our hearts are absolutely with the people of the Northwest Territories. At this time, what we're being requested to provide is support in terms of evacuations. And so we have communicated with our partners in the Northwest Territories that we're able to provide approximately 1,100 spaces in the north to receive evacuations if they require it. They are working with us through Minister Dix's ministry, which he'll be able to speak to a bit more, to receive some hospital patients and care for them as well. BC continues to be very, very grateful for the wildland wildfire support that we are receiving from outside of the province, across Canada and internationally as well. I will say that with the situation in the Northwest Territories, Alberta and Saskatchewan, due to their proximity to the Northwest Territories, will be their primary go-to for support, but BC is assuring them that we will also be there if they need us. We're just a little bit further away from them physically. Cliff, did you have anything that you wanted to add, or Minister Ralston? Go ahead, Cliff. I think you're on mute, though.
Oh. Am I good?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, thank you, Minister Ma. Just from a fire resource perspective, I don't know that I would say that we're stretched thin. From a human resources perspective, it has been a challenge, as we have discussed for most of the summer, not just nationally, but internationally, to get resources. The way that it's managed in Canada is through the Canadian Interagency Forest Fire Centre, which is the national body which all the fire agencies, all the territories and provinces are part of. And it's based on a scale. So if you're in a 1, that means you're not looking for any resources and you're ready to export resources to other agencies, all the way up to a 5. At this point in time, it is us and the Northwest Territories as the only 2 agencies that are in a 5. And that's how CIFC makes decisions when resources come available nationally or internationally. I think it's also worth noting that we have a significant aircraft fleet in BC at this time. We have over 130 helicopters on contract for us. We have a tanker fleet that's in excess of 30 pieces of fixed wing retardant dropping and water dropping aircraft. And so from an aerial perspective, we have as many resources as we've seen in previous bad fire seasons, and they are at the ready to respond. So we do have resource availability. It's not a lot. And obviously, if we get a significant amount of new fires, we will be stretched.
Oui, brièvement, je voudrais dire qu'on travaille, bien entendu, à fond et ensemble. Il y a un système au niveau national et toutes les provinces y contribuent. Maintenant, il y a 2 juridictions, la Colombie-Britannique et les territoires du Nord-Ouest, qui sont au niveau A5, qui est le plus sévère, bien entendu. Donc, on travaille ensemble et aux questions des services de santé, par exemple, on travaille depuis une semaine avec
All right, so we're listening in to an update from